Hello, hi. Obviously, I'm an immigrant, and it's my first speech as a Pentagram partner in London, so it's kind of something special to me. And I have to say, I totally enjoy the evening so far, and I hope that we not go down now, that you will enjoy my talk also. Yeah, I had my studio in Stuttgart, in southern part of Germany, for more than 10 years, and we were working for all kind of clients, paying clients, non-paying clients, in all sectors, in all areas. So we did basically what a classical graphic design studio wants to do. We developed identities, but we also had a lot of signage projects and projects in the context of architecture. In the meanwhile, I would even say signage is not a special, not the correct word for what we are doing. I'm talking about we, because I always feel my team and me are the one who are doing it, and I will continue to work with my team in Stuttgart. We'll build a new team here, a collaborating team here. So what we are doing is not only signage; it's more like, let's say, architectural branding. It's an extension of architecture. We try to find the right visuals for certain kind of architecture. So far, I had really the pleasure and really glad about that I could work with quite a lot of good architects. At the moment, still ongoing, nearly done, 2 projects with David Chipperfield, one in South Korea, not in North Korea, but also for me very how to say, a totally new perspective on visual culture and what I do. Okay, I moved to London just a few weeks ago. I'm totally new here. I have to adapt, obviously. And I want to use this lecture, this talk, to say goodbye to something and to say hello to something new. My first plan was to bring my latest project with me, but I decided to bring a project which I worked for years on, and I want to kind of, I don't want to finish it, but I think it's, for me, it's good to have a perspective on my, let's say, heritage and DNA. So as you can hear, I'm German, and one thing in Germany is really super important. It's Bauhaus. That's something which obviously made it into our genes. So we can't escape. We can either say yes or no, but we cannot say we don't know. So a few years ago, the Bauhaus archive in Berlin asked us to pitch for their new identity. And that's something it's like, you know, if you're a trainer from a football club, is one thing. If you're training the national team, it's something different, because everybody knows how to do it better. And that's the same with Bauhaus. Everybody has an opinion about it. So what I want to show you today is our idea, our concept about how we took heritage, adapted it to today, without losing the history, but with a new perspective, because that's something I missed in most of similar projects I was aware of at that time. It was always, if you deal with history, you take it and you do it in a frame or on a socket, but you stop working with it, or you, in other words, you kill it. You don't let it live, and that's what we try to do. This is the Bauhaus archive in Berlin. It's not an historical place for Bauhaus, but it was built after a design, or was designed by Walter Gropius, which is one, of course, the father of that school. Funny thing is, it was not designed for that place, and it was not built by him. He designed it for another place, and before they started building it, he died. So it's kind of a weird place, and it's very 80s in a way, because when you were in Berlin, before the wall came down, before the Union, there was a certain atmosphere in West Berlin, and it was pretty much like the Bauhaus archive. So the first thing which we did when we started working, we thought, okay, what are the cliches? Can we avoid certain things? Because I was a little bit, I mean, if you think about Bauhaus, you think about it's rational, it's minimalism, less is more, or form follows function, which actually isn't a quote from Bauhaus, but it's like you understand it like that. But I had the feeling that's not that what I have seen by artists or designers from that school. So we thought, if it's for an archive, then go to the archive and take a closer look what was the visual culture of the Bauhaus. And as you can imagine, when you see these pictures, it was totally not less is more, or form follows function, or rational. It was totally the difference. You know, it was extremely experimental. It was very open, searching. Actually, sometimes you think they did not know what they did. They just did it, and it was probably the good thing about it, because it was so new. And over the years, it became more technical or more rational, but it still has a kind of an artisan feeling, and an arty feeling also. So my summary of that was more like they just had no preconception, which was good. They were experimental in searching, groundbreaking, but also often very kind of unfinished. It was not a final result, you know? And it was always very brave and nervous. So I thought maybe when we are doing a visual identity for an archive, like the Bauhaus archive, we should try to get that spirit. Not to grab a certain picture, more go for the spirit of it, or more the what do you feel when you see it? Anyway, there was a logo they were using, and it was designed by Herbert Bayer, and you can see at these examples here that he used a typeface which he started designing in the 20s. And when there was an exhibition nearly 50 years ago today, 50 years of Bauhaus, he designed the poster. Funny side thing, not so important, but so funny, the exhibition was in Stuttgart, so that's where I'm from. And when they opened the Bauhaus archive, they just added archive, you know? They had already the design and just added this one. So we really loved this font, but you know, it's kind of, it's too simple just to take things and to use it for your own design. But how can you use that? How can you be inspired by that? How can you solve certain problems you have? For example, if you do a corporate design today, probably it should be legible and readable, you know, because otherwise, sooner or later, you get problems. So what we did, we thought, okay, let's keep that font, but take a closer look at the construction and design a font which is kind of in tune with that, but is more more functional, as a first step, And we designed a font which the Bauhaus archive later called Bayer Next, which was kind of, it's, maybe a bit too big as a name, but still. So what we could do with that font now is we could literally use it for texts and, come on. Of course, if you have one, you need another one. And we did 2 fonts, actually 4 in the end. And that was just, it's boring, right? Okay, I know. It was just the first step to get the bag free. You did what you have to do, and now you can take a closer look. And I mean, basically what we did, we made the Bayer font more boring. And we knew that we did that. So we thought, okay, maybe we can, if we take a closer look at the old logo, there are a few letters which are really kind of special, and a few letters which are more like the letters we designed, a little bit more functional, a little more boring. So I thought, okay, there is something in it. These special fonts or letters, what can we do? Then we went back to the archive and said, okay, first let's do something like collecting, variating, experimenting. And what we did is we took a closer look at all the different forms they used to construct letters. And then we realized that you can play with that. You can just do something which is kind of step by step. But you also can not only collect, you can start to experiment. You can, if you have the freedom, then maybe you can be inspired by photos or objects, situations, artwork, more artwork, more artwork. And then you really can start playing around. And you always have in mind what they did back then, and you can take it, and you can change it, you can play with it. And in the end, what we did a new kind of type or letter archive, which was a trick, because that's what someone who works in an archive does, And that was kind of a bridge or a door for very conservative museums and archival people who are not so much into contemporary graphic design. They are more, but when they know it makes sense, and the Bauhaus also did it, you are kind of, you have another level. So we had this typeface, and then finally we designed posters with that. And of course we used the more playful fonts for the headlines and the more functional font for all the rest. And I mean, it sounds, from the perspective of a graphic design world, it's kind of, why not? But for the Bauhaus archive, that was really a kind of a revolution. Because when we launched this, it was a summer long, colorful posters inhabited the streets of Berlin. We asked them, don't you want to print for selling? How much posters do you need? That was, I remember very well. And they said, we have, I think we will hang 200, so let's print 200. And then we said, don't you sell posters? Normally not. That changed. Okay, so of course that was not the only action we had. We designed for all the exhibitions, I think now for nearly 4 or 5 years. We are really kind of, let's say, we don't use artworks always. You know, it's not a picture of something, it's an expression of something. And when we designed this catalog for Kandinsky's work as a teacher, we used forms that his students developed and just used it. I need music here, right? It's nice. You can look at it with music. Yeah, maybe next time. No, there's no next time. It's a goodbye. So, also the Bauhaus archive says kind of goodbye because next year is 100 years of Bauhaus. So the school was started 1918 and 19. Sorry. And they get a new building. The old one will be refurbished, and the new with an additional building beside. So in April they did a series of events, and we developed this graphic language for that. There was also animations, but not as an animated poster. It was more like animated architecture, which was quite nice. You know, you talk to people for 2 or 3 years. Couldn't we do projections on your facade? No. Finally they did, and now they want to have it again. I think that was pretty much 10 minutes, but you know, that was my history, my past. And if you want to know more about what I did the last years, then it's a huge project we did in Seoul. But there was a journey, it was really worldwide. I traveled different places to complete that project, totally special and very fantastic building in the heart of Seoul. So what we did, we designed a typeface, we designed a graphic language for that, which I will not show you, only a little bit of it, because if you want to see it, London Design Festival, in a few weeks, I have 60 minutes and I will show this project. Thank you.